Okay, we are live. Hey, everybody. Happy
Hey,
Thursday.
happy
Welcome
Thursday.
to the Original Blueprint podcast. We are so excited to be here tonight.
Yes.
Tonight, we are talking about self love and connecting to your divinity. Because really,
Okay.
self love is where it all starts. Like, people ask us, like, how are you even on this journey? And I think that really self love is where to start because
Yeah.
if you're not loving yourself, you can't connect. You just can't connect. So, before we get into it, I want to give you guys a little bit of, exciting little news. On September 1st, we are doing the podcast live together. I'm going out by Tangenique and we are going to be broadcasting live together. So that is going to be
Yeah.
like a really amazing, amazing show. So I
It
cannot wait
is.
for that. I'm like so excited. So excited. I cannot
So
believe
excited.
we were just saying, like, we cannot believe that, we met on Clubhouse on a literal app, just a talking app. And
Yeah.
now it turned into so much more. It turned into, God, like partnerships, business
Mm-hmm.
building, podcasting, all this stuff. So like I'm just excited and I'm excited to get to do this with you and
Me
I love
too.
it. We even saw, I was checking the numbers today. We were looking at the podcast numbers and saw that within the last day like 80 people downloaded our
That's so
little
cool.
podcast and
I mean, we're just starting out. Yeah.
we're just like
And
winging
you know
it.
what? I was thinking today it's gonna be so funny when we look back and see how we started. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
It's
And see
gonna
what
be
it
so
turns
funny.
into.
Hmm.
Because like a lot of people like like people think maybe this is like I don't know scripted or something. Like we're literally winging this. Like
Yeah.
we have no idea what we're doing. So just to throw that out there.
We're just being.
But and that's the thing. Like I feel like with self love, it really comes to the point where if you don't love yourself, you
Mhm.
cannot effectively love anybody else.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing, hold on, I just want to click on the comment section just in case. The biggest thing about self love is like, until you really love yourself, like, number one, you cannot love other people effectively. And
Mhm.
I don't really believe, and this is just me speaking, like, I don't think you can really connect to source, to God, whatever you want to call it,
Mm.
like,
Mm.
because we
Mm.
are the walking manifestations of source.
Wow.
If we're not loving ourselves, you're not loving source.
Mm.
How are you connecting? And I know for me, like,
Wow.
until I really understood that self love, I could not connect. I
Hmm.
could not connect. Like, up until last year, I didn't even know God, your inner self, any of that stuff, your higher self. Like, I didn't know that stuff was real. I'd
Wow.
never experienced it until I fell in love with myself.
Hmm.
And that was only because I was exposed to other people who truly love themselves and that exemplified that. And even though I thought I loved myself, it wasn't that unconditional, like looking at the ugly part of you, the ugly part that everybody hides from, that they're like, oh God, was that me? Yep, that
Hmm.
was you. Until I really embraced it. And I think it was when I talked about my felony last year
Hmm.
that really helped me to connect with that love in my heart for myself.
Right.
Once I forgave myself for all the shit, stopped looking at myself like I was less than,
Mm.
then I was like, oh, that's what this feels like. Like, that's what that love is in my heart. Like, I felt my heart literally open up and expand out.
Mhm.
And it was like fucking magical. And a lot of people were like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm like, I
Right.
don't know. My heart like feels alive. But I think after I forgave myself and really started like appreciating me, because
Mhm.
why are we walking around and not being in love with ourselves? Like, I'm fucking amazing. Why did I ever think that I wasn't? Do you know what I mean?
Amen.
Like,
I
why are
know.
we doing that? Like, why do people do that? But everybody does it. You're like beating yourself up. You don't like this about yourself. You're picking at your face. You think you're fat. This. Like, I was constantly like, oh, my arms, and oh, this. There are people that cannot even get out of bed. There are people that cannot do anything in their life, that they're
Yeah.
bedridden and miserable. And I'm like, here I am, like being totally ungrateful
Mhm.
and not like
Mhm.
loving all of me. Like, I have
Right.
to. And now I'm like, forget it. Like, and loving yourself is okay.
Mhm.
Like I love me. And I think it's crazy that for so long I didn't. So
Right.
that's why I think this is so important for us to even like talk about, because if you're not loving yourself, how can you connect with other people? How can you do that? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. And you know, like I say, I always say it, everything just seems so cliche at first to me, you know,
Yeah.
because it was like this whole thing, and I just always looked at it outside of myself. But it took a couple of things that like took me kind of like down for me to even really start the process of like going within and loving myself. And it was like,
Right.
you know, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like it's almost like, I mean, even before I knew about frequency, energy, vibration, all these, you know, before I even knew any of that, it was
Right.
like, okay, something is not right here. What this is. I started noticing that it was different scenarios or different people, but it was still me. Like, you know, and it was
Yeah.
like, okay, you're giving out all this and you're feeling depleted, and it was like it's a voice, and it's not like a voice like sometimes audible like we think or whatever, but it's something, and it's the inner you. I can say that now,
Right.
that like says, you know, like try like loving yourself, like, or like, you know, I used to do a lot. I used to always sing, like when songs come on, I would always sing songs to myself. I wouldn't sing it
I
like a
love
love
that.
song. I would always do that. And I never knew I was doing that, but now I see why, because it was like gaining the momentum up of the turning into myself, right?
Right.
And then it's like that part of me like came to my remembrance, like, oh, you like, you know how you sing to yourself? Okay, well, you really are
I love
singing to
that.
yourself. You really are connecting with
Yeah.
your self that you want to see in another person.
Right.
And it
Yeah.
just it just started like unfolding like that. But I mean, I went through a lot of different things to like see that and kind of like, I think, gain momentum with that or practice that with myself. Oh my God, I went through so many episodes of just tearing myself down, but seeing the difference of, okay, even though I'm going through this, how would it feel if I just like put myself first in the situation? Just like it was like a whole bunch of little practice, all a bunch of little practices. Now it's like it's getting like where it's just like second nature. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. It's just so amazing that all along all you really have to do is love yourself, because then
Yeah.
it's like you become because you realize that you're a magnet, and you realize that
Yes.
you are really bringing, you know, whatever it is to you that's in your environment. You don't really realize that you are
Right.
creating that, because you are a creator. You are a co-creator. So it's just so vast to even know that that's how powerful we actually really are. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
Um, it's just been an eye opener. It's been hurtful, you know, because it's
Yes.
like dang, you really because you really go outside of yourself for other people for every single thing. You don't really stick with you, and that's something that never leaves. Like, you
Yeah.
know, but
No,
that's the one
definitely.
thing that you think about last. And if you just reverse that and think about that about you first, not in a selfish way, but just knowing that if you love yourself, then you really can properly love others,
Yes.
because people are going to reflect to you how you feel about yourself.
Well,
They
that
really
was
are.
like, I really think like when I started, like, because I had a moment where I was like, wait a minute, you're not even, you don't even do anything for yourself.
Like nothing. Start feeling all
Nothing.
guilty.
I
Right.
was like, you don't do anything. Like, nothing. Nothing. Like, and then I started thinking about myself like a plant, right? I know this is ridiculous, but this is how it
Like a
went for me.
plan.
Like a plant, like a little flower. Because I'm like,
A plant.
if I had a flower, what would I be doing with that? I'd be
Mm,
watering it. I'd be like tending to it. I'd be throwing some fertilizer on it. And I'm like, what do you do for yourself? And nothing. I wasn't drinking
nothing.
water. I wasn't doing anything.
Oh my God.
And I know self-love for people, they think it's like making vision boards or taking a bath, and yeah, all that other stuff comes. But it was really, I think for me, it was doing things for me
Yeah.
versus doing things for everybody else. And then that also turned into the healing
Mm-hmm.
of me, like looking back at my childhood. And then I had to
Yeah.
ugh, the ugly part.
It's ugly.
Why did I feel unloved?
Wow.
Then I had to look at that, and that shit was so ugly. That shit was so ugly.
Like
And it
hideous. Ah,
ugh. And I remember sitting and going, because I don't know. See, I know what some people do different things to heal, but when I was doing it, I was like, all right. So from ages 0 to 7, when you're developing, like, what happened? What happened for you that you feel unloved? So then now I'm picking my brain apart. Now, both my parents are gone.
yeah.
So, like, I didn't have a reference point to
Mm-hmm.
go back and go, Mom, Dad, like, what happened when I was a kid? So now I'm like digging in the
Wow.
crates, going back to my childhood and being like, why did you not love yourself? Like, what
Mm-hmm.
was it? But it really, I never learned that I was supposed to love myself.
Right.
And I was quick to blame it. Like, I blamed my dad for a lot of it because I was always looking for love in men. I
Mm-hmm.
was looking for somebody to love me and validate me and, oh, Melissa, you're so me. No, like
Yeah.
I had to do that for me, but I didn't
Yeah.
know I was supposed to.
Right.
So after looking for it in all these people, and that you hear the cliche, oh, you got to love yourself. And I'm like, what does that mean? But that's literally what it was. I had to look at me, even with the ugly parts of me,
Yep. Yep.
the felony, being pregnant early, all the like addiction, all these things, being overweight, all these things that I hated about me. I
Uh-huh.
had to just be okay with them.
Right.
That and it sounds so stupid because it really is that simple.
It really is.
And it's just letting go of like what you thought it was. Like, I lived for 20 something years beating myself up over a felony that
Mm-hmm.
I got when I was 21 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I played this scenario in my head for myself every day
Mm-hmm.
instead of
Wow.
just going, Melissa, that's not you anymore. That was you 20 years ago. That doesn't make you who you are today. But then I was like, wait a minute. And then when I went on to Clubhouse, I will never forget, I heard all these millionaires talking about how they were junkies, how
Mm.
they had felonies, they lost their homes, they were homeless.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
That's who the millionaires are?
Yes.
They are the people that were down bottom, but never let that stop them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wait a second. I've been doing this all wrong. Hold on. So
Right.
now I start being like, all right, Melissa, like, you have a felony. Like, that kind of like puts you ahead of the game a little bit in a way, because look at what these people are doing. That didn't stop them. Why would that stop you?
Right.
And then I was on some other shit after that. I was like, you know what? I got to run with that and like show people this doesn't have to make or break your life.
No, no.
I could have let it, but I didn't have to. And I was like, wow, like if I'm looking at all these people, I don't have to be sitting here feeling sorry for me,
Mm-hmm.
thinking I'm less than other people. I don't have to do that. And then I
Yeah.
stopped because I was sick of it. I was sick of
Mm-hmm.
being like, poor
Sick of,
me,
yeah.
sick of my own
Yeah.
shit. Like, poor me. I have a felony. The only person that cared about the felony was me.
Yeah.
No one cared. Even when I remember when I put it out on, I made a video on TikTok because I'm like, all right,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna put this out there because I know there's other people who probably have a felony and don't even want to say it
Mm-hmm.
because they're so embarrassed and just disgusted with themselves, right? But I'm like, I'm gonna put it out there.
Right.
And I remember I wanted to throw up when I was
Really?
gonna make that video because I was
Wow.
like so scared people were gonna judge me. And I'm like, who cares? Who cares? So I remember I boop and I sent it out into the world. And I
Wow.
was like waiting for everybody to like be like, oh, what a piece of trash, you know. No one even cared. They were like, oh my God, like, what do you mean your baby's father threw crack in your lap? Like, what do you mean?
Oh
What are
my
you
God.
talking about? And I was like, I know, isn't it fucked up? But like, it literally, no one cared. And I was like, God, like, I was like
Oh.
sweating on that. Like, I didn't want to tell
Yeah,
anybody.
like the whole like
And then I
that's
said it out loud, and then it went away. And then it went away. And that was it. And I was like,
that was
wait,
it. And now it's just a story
I'm
you
like,
tell.
yeah. And I'm like, I just had to like accept myself,
Yeah.
to love
You-
myself.
Yeah.
Oh. And then after that, I started just forgiving everything that I've ever done because it doesn't even exist anymore anyway.
And that's the
Literally.
thing.
Like, oh,
That's the
mm,
thing. The esoteric part of it, the whole
mm.
metaphysical part of it.
Yeah,
Just
they,
like, you know what I mean? Like the fact that you, again, we are creators. So the
yeah,
fact that we're bringing it up and keep on playing it over and over, we're actually creating that now moment of
yeah,
being in that place of that. And I'm telling you, it wasn't to the
it's
diamond
so sick.
sequence. I'm telling you right now that caused me to just start feeling how it felt to just not feel that type of heaviness no more.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
just that alone. Oh my God, I don't feel heavy about like, and I even can't even say what it actually was. It's just like A, B, C, D, whatever.
Right.
But to like get into the rhythm of like even that the book we're reading right now about the abundance. It's not necessarily about you getting money. It's more about you having the mindset and a renewing of your mind. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Because once you do that, then you create from that vantage point.
Right.
You have always been a creator, regardless to if it's something negative or whatever it is, your past, whatever. You're still creating that in your present by being stuck on it.
Yep.
And that right
Yep.
there just made. I was so mad when I found that out. I was so mad. I was crying. I was like, I'm doing this, like
Yep.
for real, like because it's like you create your own like all these things is being said, but you're not even you're just saying them. People are just saying them, but they're not really
Mm-hmm.
like talking about it like we talking about it. That's
No.
why I love what we do, what we're doing. We're just being raw and uncut about what we experience. You know what I'm saying? And then hopefully it resonates with somebody because people
Exactly.
are not saying or people have not said in the past what it is, what
No.
that looks
Everybody
like.
gatekeeps this. It's
Yeah,
a
just
big
oh
gatekeeping.
self love. Oh, um, what? Like,
Yeah. Like, what does that mean? Like, what do you do?
and because
Like,
then you start doing this whole outward thing, self love. I'm gonna get my hair done, get my nails
yep.
done. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
make myself look. I'm a bad bee. I'm da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
then it's like, okay, I'm crying on my pillow at night though.
Right.
After I
So have
posed
they?
up and after I did
Yep.
all this stuff on social media, in my
Yep.
alone time, I'm bawling. I'm crying. I'm like, oh my God, I'm empty. Okay. But I don't feel that way no more. Like, I
No.
love myself. And I'm
Yep.
like, if you can't match this energy
I don't want it.
that I feel by myself, then
Yeah.
I just don't want the heaviness. I don't want it. I don't want to do it. I don't ever
Mm-mm.
want to leave myself again. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the thing with loving yourself too, though, is that you have to love yourself enough.
To like
Like
yourself.
this has been the hardest lesson, to
Mm,
let people go out of your life who are shitty. Like that's part of self-love too. Like, am I going to keep letting people infringe on my boundaries? And like you just said, like, if I know how I feel all the time. So if somebody comes along and they're in my atmosphere and I'm not feeling like love, if I'm not feeling like happy, if I'm feeling like, when you get that phone call and you're like, oh, I don't want to
hmm.
answer that right now because
Yeah,
I know this shit's going to fuck me up. Like,
literally.
you shouldn't be talking to people like that. Like, and then you have to love yourself enough to be like, no, no, done with you, done. And I've had to do that with family. I've had to do that with people I've known 40 years. I was like, boop, see, sayonara, you gotta go. And I did it with so many people, but it's because when you love yourself,
Yeah.
you have to choose you,
You got to kind of
even
like
when it's
guard yourself.
hard.
Yeah.
Even when it's hard.
Hard.
And that for me has been like such a huge thing because no one prepares you for that. A lot of people make it like, oh, you talk to people forever. Oh, that's your family. Oh, you can't, that's your blood.
Hmm.
And what's your point? You could get it too. Everybody could get it. Everybody's
Yeah.
on the chopping block. If it doesn't feel like what we do, I don't want it. None of it. So
But
carry on. That's it.
yeah, because
It's
yeah,
simple.
because honestly, when you start to experience this, you realize that you shouldn't want something bad enough,
Mm-mm. No.
nothing that's going to take you off of your like alignment, because it's like
Yep.
it's not just this whole alignment, these words, or just like all this
No,
ascension and all
it's
this
an
type of.
actual thing.
It's an
It's a thing.
actual thing. It's an actual experience. It's an actual
Yep.
flow, and you feel when something is coming in to kind of like dam it up, and you be
Mm.
like, nah,
Oh God,
it's
it's
not
like
worth it. It's not worth it. You know.
it's like a whole see, it's so funny though, because like think about like when you first started being on your own little journey, right?
Hmm.
You didn't really know. Like you knew something was coming,
Hmm.
but now it's comedy. Now it's just
Straight
straight
comedy,
comedy.
straight knee
Because
slapper.
it's almost like the universe brings shit to you to see if you're still an idiot.
It's
So like
all
are you
yes.
are
It's
you
still
still
stupid.
gonna deal with are you still gonna deal with these assholes,
Wow.
or are you gonna be like, you know what? I'm good. Like I'll pass. Like, and it's something, it could be something so simple, but it's the energy of the people. It's the same situation. And like as you deal with different situations, you're seeing stuff pop up, but it's the same energy in different bodies,
Uh huh.
same backstory. Say it's almost like you're in the movie and you have different characters coming in playing different people
Right.
doing the same bullshit. And instead of it being where you get caught up for like a long time now,
Yeah.
you're like, wait,
Yeah.
I've
It's a
seen this
glitch in the
story
system.
already.
Yes.
Like I know
Attention
I know what
faster.
this is. Yeah, and
Yeah.
you're like, all right, and
Yeah.
it cuts down on your, I want to say almost recovery time. That you're like,
Oh
all
my
right,
God.
I'm not doing this again.
Oh.
Where I used to let shit, ugh, I would be in my head for like 2 weeks, a good 2 weeks. Like if I had like an
I'm
issue
talking
pop
about.
up, I'd be like, oh God, like I'd be thinking about it, not realizing I was creating more of that in my world because I kept thinking about it. And that was just like a real
It's a
smack in the
whole play by
face.
play,
Like,
just constant, constant. I
yeah,
don't even when you
over and
said that day
over.
when you said that day about like you don't even hear those voices in your head no more.
Mhm.
That whatever the hell was going on, it
Yep,
was
it's the
loud.
clutter.
It was
Yep.
hella just you know what I'm saying. And it's more like silence. And even if somebody does try to come in, or not, excuse me, I don't mean to sound like that, but if something tries to come in and try to take up residency, I'm
Hmm.
swatting it out like a fly. Like, oh
Yep.
no, because it's like no, because the peace though. See,
Oh, so deep. That's
that
the
diamond
piece for
sutra. I
me.
keep on going. That diamond sutra.
The Diamond Sutra,
Because
like if people are listening to this, you're gonna hear us talk about this like all the time.
yeah,
The
we
sutra,
apologize in advance.
yeah, like it's if anybody's interested, like go to diamond-sutra.com. It's not a religious text. And like
Mm-mm.
when I came across this book, I was all right. I was like anti everything. Like I didn't want to know about God. I didn't want to know about religion because I had grown up in the church and I had
Right.
it with the bullshit. So
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to hear nothing. I'd hear people talking about God. I'm like, ah, what are you talking about? I didn't want to hear any of it,
Mm.
nothing. So when the sutra came along, I didn't know what it was. I'm like, oh, a book about diamonds? Oh, let me see what it is.
Right.
And then as I heard it, I'm like, what is going on here? Like, I don't know what they're talking about. They're talking about
Right.
the booty and Buddha. And I'm like, oh God, a religious text.
Yep.
So I kind of backtracked out, but there was something that was like, you got to listen to what they're talking about here. So when I went back in, then I started actually reading it like a story
Hmm.
versus I took the religion out of it
Right.
because I feel like I didn't want to be the religious trauma girl that like missed the boat on something because she
Hmm.
didn't want to separate the two.
Right.
And then when I started reading it, I was like, wow, like I'm like digging this. Then I started like writing it out, reading it.
Crazy.
Then we're doing discussions on it. And
Hmm.
I remember sitting the one day being like, it's like a Monday morning, and I'm sitting here reading an old sacred
For
text,
real. Think
like
about
for
what we were doing. That was every single day
every
for
day for
32
32
days.
days. Yeah. And like
Are you
no
kidding me?
one, I know, I had no idea why I felt so compelled to even read it, but I
Man.
couldn't put it down. I was like, every night I would sit at the table, my little book and my
Yes.
pen, and I'd write because the chapters they're really short.
Yeah, it's not
I'd
long.
read the little chapter, I'd write it out. But that book activated me and woke me out of a slumber. And I know a lot of people are probably like, what does that mean? Like when I had my awakening, that book aided in that. Like that was brought to me
That
to
part.
have this
No, for real.
whole experience.
Yes.
It's so crazy.
It's
It's
so
so
deep. It's
deep.
so deep.
It's so deep.
But see, there you go again. It's just
And you'll never be the same.
no, because you're calling from the inside of you.
Yep.
And then again, it comes as a magnet. When you start seeing yourself as more of a magnet, then you stop wondering why things is coming up. It might be something we talked about this today. Whether you believe in past lives or multiple timelines or a multiverse or what have you, we exist. And I know that we look at everything as being like this type of form. And I don't really know how it looks or how anything, I don't know about how anything is, but whatever energies maybe that's out there that is a version of you, whatever it is, you are attracting that in your environment so you can smash and demolish it and you can bring it
Yep.
into a consolidation of the one. You know what I mean? Of the one true self that is aligning itself with the unseen to the
Yep.
original blueprint. Like that's why we call this original blueprint, because we are all on a journey to get back to the original calling of our actual lives. We have been dealing with all kind of other stuff, generation after generation, of just so many different outsourcing
Yep.
mechanisms that it's just so much that it, the journey to yourself might have taken, I don't know, lifetimes or whatever, or it might just take you to just really align with yourself in order to see that this is exactly what it is, and that you
Yep.
can, like I always say, it's like, and I know people have said this many times, but it's like closing out tabs on your computer.
Yep. It's
You know
so
what I mean?
funny. It is. It really is, though.
Because we are so powerful. We're so mechanical. We have so many things inside of us. Everything is emulated and copied off of what we are and how we move and how we do things. As far as being human beings, we are like magnificent. You
Yeah,
know
our
what I'm saying?
brains are
Even our,
supercomputers.
huh?
Our brains are like literally
Yeah.
supercomputers. Like,
Even in our low points, think about how you mastermind. Just that you in poverty, you mastermind in the next meal you about to have. I mean, come on now. Some
yeah,
people put together
yeah.
some things that's probably not right. Okay. But how does your mind even compute to even start doing all that or
Exactly.
whatever it is? You know what I mean?
No,
So
there's so much. There's
yeah,
so much.
yeah, so much. You
I
know.
feel like though, like it's just like thinking about I like when I think about the way I used to like treat myself,
Oh,
it makes me like sad. Like
oh.
when I did not love myself, it was very apparent. I weighed almost 300 pounds.
Mm,
I was just miserable, miserable. I was numbing myself on purpose. Like, I would never, I don't even want to take Tylenol now.
mm-hmm.
I stopped, I don't know. I feel like once you like really love yourself, you're like, wait a second. All this other shit I was doing, this ain't it.
Mm-mm.
I don't drink anymore. I'm not doing anything extracurricularly. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I stopped eating a lot of different foods I was eating
Mm-hmm.
because I know they're not good for me. I started changing up my supplements. I started like doing metal detoxes. I did a parasite cleanse, like all these things that I never gave a shit about
Yeah.
because I did. And I'm not saying everybody has to do these things,
Mm-hmm.
but for me, I'm like, wait a second. Like, okay, so my higher self and my source self is in this vessel.
Yeah.
So if I'm not loving
Mm.
this vessel, I'm not really loving source because
No.
source gave me this. So I have to take care of this body
Yeah.
and keep it up and running because you only get one. I
Yeah.
think people forget that shit too. Like when I was 300, almost 300 pounds, I didn't care. I wasn't like, oh yes, my source self, like
Yeah.
definitely, I should definitely be loving myself more. No, I was eating a pint of ice cream a night and eating lasagna like it was my job and just eating loaves of bread and shit like with sauce. Like I was an animal. But like now,
So
no,
crazy.
literally, like it's so bad because I'm like, God, you would just, like I look at now and I'm like, what were you doing?
But
But I
see,
didn't
those are
care.
all escapes and stuff like that, and
Yes.
that's just,
Yep.
when you
Absolutely.
look back on it, it's like, okay, dang, like dang, I really was on one,
Oh my
you know.
God. Oh my God. It's
Yeah.
like it's sad. And that's why
Mm-hmm.
like even when I talk like because I have that text message I send out and like I try when I send this out, I don't know who it's gonna like hit,
Mm-hmm.
who's gonna respond. There's like 130 people in the text now.
Right.
And I send out whatever pops in my head. But it's just so people like look at themselves differently. Like you're not just a person here. Like, you owe it to yourself to like love you.
Right.
And I remember coming across this thing called it's like the Ho'oponopono, and I know I've talked about it
Mm-hmm.
before in here.
Yeah.
But when I read it the first time, and it tells you like go stand in the mirror and
Mm-hmm.
say I love you to yourself.
Mm.
I had never.
Mm.
I had never. And when I did it, I cried
Mm.
because I had never even like really gave it much thought.
Wow.
And like I didn't grow up where my parents were like, you really need to love yourself because that's like what, that's where it all begins. Like nobody
But no,
nobody
I
was
don't think a lot of people. No, that's not
no.
the talk.
Mm-mm.
That's not the talk. I'm sorry.
That's the
Like
talk now though. That's
that's the
that's
talk
the talk
now.
over here.
That's the talk over here too. But I'm
Yep.
saying like that's not even like the talk. Like that's like the last thing that you even do. You know what I mean? Like
I know. Well, because people think it's like selfish. Like
yeah,
you love yourself. You when I started going for walks every day,
yeah.
what? I got such shit from that. You're what are you doing? Like you
Really?
have to oh please. That was like a whole thing. Like you're gonna go for walks every day?
So what
Yeah,
is that?
I
What
am.
is that? What is that? What I mean,
Because that takes away time from
for what?
what, me cleaning the house. So like
Oh,
I don't want to do that shit, so like of course I'm
wow.
gonna go for a walk first. Like I want to go improve me.
Right.
And like self-love for me, taking care of myself is like the most amazing thing I've ever done
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
Like it's because for me it's mental. Like taking care of my body helps me mentally clear
Yeah.
my shit.
Mhm.
Because when I was really heavy and when I was overeating and trying to like mask all the feelings inside, I wasn't addressing myself.
Mhm.
So I sat there and I would eat my emotions. I would camouflage everything.
Mhm.
But like taking care of my body and taking care of that helps me take care of my mental health. Like
Right.
I before all my work that I've done, I was literally on so many meds for depression and
Mm.
anxiety, and I couldn't sleep, so I was on meds for that. And I was on, oh my God, like I was on a lot of medication and none of it was helping.
Right.
And the doctors were like, well, okay, well, none of this helps, so take this too. Take this too. And I was like, a zombie. I'm like, why? Like, this isn't helping. They didn't help me address the inner issue of why
Of
I
course not.
felt the way I felt.
Right.
But once you address that and like look at yourself and forgive yourself, like that's where the healing starts. That's how you love yourself. Like,
Mhm.
it's not like, yes, you can go get your nails done, you can go get your hair done, all that stuff.
Mhm.
But if you're not really addressing the inner the reason you are the way you are,
Mhm.
what are you doing? You can't love yourself if you're not really going in and looking at yourself going, wait a second, why am I like this? Like
Yeah.
why?
But you don't even get to that point until you're just tired of it.
Right.
Like I
That's
said,
exactly.
I heard myself, like I told you, I heard myself say something to my cousin. And I'm sorry. It was like I don't even know how many times I had said that, but this time I heard myself saying it. And it was like, just please don't say that one more time. Please don't even
Like I had enough of
don't
you.
say it not one more time. Because it was like literally Groundhog Day. Literally. And that's the thing, like you said earlier, that it could be a different person, it could be a different place, it could be a different thing, but it's still you. You have
Mm,
to be the one to change. You
right.
know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, let me change the scenario right now because sometimes you don't even know that you are in the same because like it's like almost like a play. You know how you're in a play, but then they come and change the scene, or you're in a movie, the scene is
Mhm.
changing, but you're not. If you're not changed, then you're the same way. And I was
Right.
like, okay. And that's what started me just being. And at first, sometimes it's like you're mad, like you're mad at yourself. But I think
Right.
you have to get mad though. You
Yes.
know,
Yeah, you
I
gotta
was,
be
I was,
like, ugh,
yeah,
like I'm done with this
you got to
shit.
be like, and I was like, I was an enabler. That's what I
Mm,
was. That's my problem. I never really had no problems with drugs or none of that kind of stuff, or whatever. But my thing was that's a drug too. You know what I'm saying? Like people
right.
always want to try to like act like if it's not smoking or if it's not drinking, then it's not a drug or if it's not food. No, being an enabler to somebody else or just to people in general, and not even seeing the error in that and seeing that you are not allowing for people's God self to intervene. You have to hit a brick wall sometimes. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And I'm stopping you from hitting the brick wall every time. Oh, I got it. Oh. But then at the same time, I'm suffering until it
Oh.
got down to me being homeless with my kids. Like,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying? Or somebody who prided themselves on making sure that, you know, everybody had a safe place to be and all that. But here I am, homeless with my children. You know what I'm
But
saying? Like,
yeah.
so then what do you go from there? Is it like, oh, I'm just gonna go dig a deeper ditch, or am I gonna rise up out of here?
Right.
Well, I'm sorry, the way I'm built, I'm gonna rise up out of here. I really don't know how it's gonna look or be, but it's getting done. You know what I mean? But then but then at the same time, I had to be like, Tangenique, this is showing you that you cannot beat God giving. You are not nobody's savior. You are
Right.
not nobody's nothing. You have to be that for yourself. And I'm still work in progress because it's been a lot of hard lessons because I couldn't believe myself.
I know.
I couldn't believe
I
that
know.
something I thought that I was doing so good. You see what I'm saying? And it was so wrong for other people. It wasn't good.
Right.
That's why a lot of times we can get in the way by thinking we're doing something so good for somebody else, but they really gotta learn. They really gotta learn for themselves so they can be proud of themselves. Like the same way
Ugh,
you
same
made
way we
for
were.
yourself to start the journey is the same way they gotta do it. And that's period. That's just what it is. You know what I mean?
I love you.
It you know?
It is though. It's the amount of people like this again was like something very hard. This was
It's
another
hard.
really hard lesson because you want to save people. It's just I feel like it's just like natural. And
Yeah.
like when I first woke up, I was like, "Oh my god, let me tell you
Yeah.
all the things I've learned." And I got to tell you, no one gave a shit.
Nope.
No one cared. No one wanted to hear me.
They're not even on that vibrate. They're not even on that vibration. They're just
Nope.
doing them.
And I like I knew that, but still I still had that like hope.
Yeah.
like maybe if I just but really if you're not sick of you, you're never going to change. That's the end of the story. Like I had to be I rem I had to be laying in bed sick of myself. I
Mm-hmm.
remember I was laying in the kids' room. I was in the bunk bed. I was just laying there. Why? I don't know. That's just what I was doing. And I was literally miserable. I was probably going to take a nap. And I remember laying there going, "What are you doing?
Mm.
This cannot be all you're doing."
Mm.
I was sad. I had lost my dad. I had that thing with my throat where I couldn't go back to work, and I was feeling sorry for myself and
Yeah.
crybabying it and poor me. And I was like, "Aren't you fucking sick of yourself yet?"
Hmm.
And I was like, "Oh God, yeah, I am." And that was it. And then it took a little bit. It took
Mm.
a lot. It took a lot of
Yeah.
bit of
Yeah.
work because this
Yeah.
was like 3 years ago. Like
That's crazy.
I forget how long it's been because it's like
I'm
time's
telling
just
you.
boop, 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 you know? But like it really was like 3 years ago that I was like, you know what? you gotta get your shit together. Like, your life's just passing. Like, you're not even doing anything.
Wow.
You're just sitting here feeling bad for yourself. So then I like started doing some little multi-level marketing thing,
Mm-hmm.
but I was good at it. And that's
Sure.
all I needed. And that I started doing personal development. And even at the time that I didn't know what I was really doing, I
Yeah.
remember being like, you've always been a leader, but
Mm-hmm.
you're not leading yourself.
See?
And I was like,
See?
ugh,
Mm.
gross,
That's just the
gross.
beginning and end of it. Period.
and that was
Wow.
and I was like, oh
Wow.
boy, Melissa, like what are you gonna do with that? So then I started listening to like John Maxwell, and I was like, who am I at the time? I remember thinking it because I was listening to it in the car,
Mm-hmm.
and like I was like, who am I to even be listening to this? Like, I'm not a leader. Like, what am I even
Wow.
doing? Like, I'm a loser, you know? And then I
Mm.
was like, no, like, let me hear what this guy's got to talk about. But the way and you know, it's so funny because like Bob Proctor, when he talks in his one book, he says when he heard Earl Nightingale, he goes,
Right.
I heard this man and he was like listening to God. He goes, I heard him and I never stopped listening to personal development. He goes, that was it for me. And that's how it
Mm-hmm.
was. I heard John Maxwell. And then, like, after him, I like listened to his stuff, but then I started listening to other people.
Right.
And it was just constant. I was constantly doing personal development. I never
Mm-hmm.
wanted to stop because I was like, I never heard people talk like this.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that this is like, I'm loving this.
Yeah, you
Why do I
loving it.
love
Yeah.
this so much?
Yeah.
Now I know it's because that's who I've always been.
Yeah.
And I just had no idea. So I'm doing what those people did for me in these
Mm-hmm.
books.
Yeah.
That's why I think I'm so passionate about doing the podcast, doing all
Yeah.
the stuff we're doing. Because, like, it took that one book that I listened to for me to
Yeah.
be like, engulfed in like making myself a better person
Better
and
person.
loving myself the most.
Yeah.
And once you do that, when you decide, because that's really it too,
Mm-hmm.
you got to make the decision and then you have to take accountability for where you're at, even if you don't love it. Even if you don't love it, you got to just be
You don't love
accountable.
it. Yeah, because at the because it's developing, and even
Yep,
if you don't see it right then and there, you still got to know it's coming. It's
it's
developing.
coming.
Because if you think about yourself as a speaker box and the sound coming through you like the sonar, and it
Yep.
blasts out whatever song you're playing, that's what people are going to resonate to. Like, you see what I'm
Yep.
saying? And that's the thing for me. That's how I have to visualize it, um, now, because think about the song that you were playing.
Mm.
You see what I'm
Woe
saying?
is me. Oh, whoa, poor
And that's how
me.
your world is. You know what I'm
Yep,
saying? If you know,
literally.
and it's just the awakening of that. And I always been somebody who loved like God, like who loved the word, and I love, but it never was like, it was always layman's terms. It was always like how I am.
Right,
Like, I could understand, I could get it. I would say for other people now that I'm looking at it,
right.
but like this today, I just heard, okay, so now you got to relearn everything, but relearn it the other way around, like relearn it from this way. So you have
Right.
to start really from the beginning. It's okay. So stop thinking that you have to have it all down pat, because you really
Yeah, 'cause
don't.
you don't.
You see what I'm saying? Because you did the other way. You did a good job, but now you also are listening, and you also are turning it around. That means that you are hearing. You see what I'm saying? You got to give yourself credit for that. That you are turning it around so that you can actually be example. I mean, I think that people have been like, "Oh, you know, you're this, you're that, you're great, you're good, you know, all that. That's nice." And I think that people probably have a lot of good things to say about me, you know, But the key is, do you have a lot of good things to say about yourself, to yourself,
That part. That part.
to yourself? You know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
Well, because you create. Oh, hey, Tiana. I see Tiana in the chat.
hey,
You know, it's so funny because people. I don't. What you just said, like people could say a lot of great stuff about you,
yeah,
but what are you saying to yourself? Are you saying, I'm a piece of shit, poor me,
mm-hmm.
I'm so terrible, I'm so this? Or are you saying, I am so amazing,
Yeah,
I am magical, I am enchanting,
yes,
I am bountiful, I am abundant, I am joy, I am love, I am peace, I am truth? Like, what are you saying?
yeah. The affirmations is really a good thing
Oh
to
my,
have.
that's one thing. Like, when I started really like thinking about what I was saying to myself,
Mm-hmm. Mm.
that shit wasn't nice.
It
I
wasn't
was
nice.
not nice to myself.
The
I was
feeling.
not nice.
Yeah.
I was beating
So,
myself up, like I was talking not nice to myself. But then once I changed it, because I'm like, I kept hearing people say stuff like, like the cliche stuff, like be the change you want to see in the
yeah.
world. And I was like, oh, all right, what
What does
does
that
that
mean?
mean? So then I was like, all right, well, if I want to be better, I have to like do better. Like, and then I'm like, well, what does that even mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then just little by little, I need little changes because really, it doesn't happen overnight.
It really
That's the
doesn't.
other thing.
It
And
really
and when
doesn't.
you don't see it right away, when you don't see the changes right away,
Yep.
people get discouraged and they stop.
Yep.
And even with like doing affirmations or doing anything that you're doing, you have to be consistent. You have to do it to make a change. Like a habit takes 21 days to even establish.
Mm-hmm.
It takes 75 at least to cement it in.
Mm-hmm.
And even after that, if you stop what you're doing, you're not going to stay consistent. So it's really like an everyday work. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is everyday work, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, this is just easy for you." It's not easy.
Mm-mm.
This
I
is
wouldn't say it's
everyday
hard. I
work.
wouldn't say it's hard, but I'm telling you, it's
It's not
definitely
hard, but
yeah,
it's not. This is something you have to like want to do.
yeah.
You have to want to be better. You have to want to love you. Like I didn't know what I was missing until I really loved myself.
Yeah.
I remember when it really hit me in the heart,
Mm-hmm.
that rocked my world. When I looked at myself for who I really was,
Mm-hmm.
I was I was like breathtaking. I was like, wait a minute. I've been looking at myself all wrong all this time.
Mm-hmm.
What am I doing? Now I know that you have to like they no one tells you to love yourself. And
You
it's
know,
something you ultimately have to figure out on your own, but like if you don't know, if you're told it's selfish,
yeah.
and like especially as a mother, I'm thinking I'm thinking if I love myself that it's wrong
Right.
because I'm supposed to be loving my kids. I'm supposed
Right.
to be loving this one and doing this and
Yeah.
but I forget about me.
Yeah.
Never
Absolutely.
again. Never again. Never
You know, I
again.
think about even tithe, and I hope I'm not stepping on nobody's toes. 'Cause I'm not trying to like talk about any type of religious thing on that level, but just the fact of like the principles of self, like yourself, like you give these tithes, and that doesn't necessarily have to mean money, but you are giving out of yourself, outsourcing, but you don't give to yourself. Like take those times, like even in the morning when we do the room. That's why I say that's so special, because a lot of times you don't even take no time out for yourself, you know. And then I also learned about the sun, how the sun goes down and rises up in the morning. And I remember back in the day, like my grandmother and them, they always talk about how they used to just get up in the morning, like 3 o'clock in the morning, because that's when the sun rises. You don't really know why people are doing stuff. You see what I'm saying? Like
Right.
people are just saying stuff. You don't know why they're doing it, and then come to find out it's because the flow of the sun. You're getting up with the rising of the sun. You know what I
Right.
mean? How
No.
beautiful is that? How beautiful is that to like to rise when I'm not saying you have to even stay woke, but just the fact that you're acknowledging that and you're having that time where the house is still, nobody's
Yep.
really up, nobody's doing nothing, the day hasn't really got started. You taking a moment for yourself. You know what I mean? Like we got so far away from that, and oh, we talk about Neville Goddard. I'm sorry,
I
that's
know.
funny. I'm about to get it tattooed. No,
So you
but
want to know something? You want to know something though? People,
mm,
here's something I've noticed in my travels.
yeah,
A lot of people, they learn from these legends,
yeah,
right?
uh-huh.
They never pay homage. They never give credit where it's due.
No, don't you see that?
A lot of
Mm,
these people are using their work
yes, they are.
and they take credit for it, and it's so gross to me.
But you can see it. Look at all the stuff we've read, all the stuff we've
Oh
done.
yeah, and now I know where all of it comes from.
You can just see it. It's so clear.
So
Wow, you're so right.
when we talk about people, we're
Mm,
giving credit because these people changed our lives. See, we've come across books that, first of all, the sutra, the sutra is thousands of years old. It was behind a rock. It was found
just
behind
imagine
a
that.
rock
Wow,
in China, in a cave of Buddhas. Okay.
wow.
How we came across it, I don't know. I'm just
It
very
came to
grateful.
us.
It literally hunted us down, like literally. Then we come across Florence Scovel. Florence Scovel's book, The Game of Life and How to Play It. That book is over 100 years old almost. Okay. Then we find Neville
Woo.
Goddard. Neville Goddard. These books are like old. But all these people that are out here, like a lot of these people are out here, and they're mainstream people and they're selling their courses for thousands of dollars and they're
Mm-hmm.
getting amped up and da but they never say,
Where they got
I learned this from Neville Goddard,
nope.
but I hear them and I'm like, Neville said that.
Yep.
And then I see this other lady on TikTok talking about let the dead bury the dead. That's from Bob Proctor. No one gives Bob Proctor credit. I never hear anybody talking about him.
They don't.
I listen to that book. I listen to his book every day. I have listened to that book every day since you brought it up, and that was like 6 months ago.
He's my favorite one on a sequel.
Oh,
He's my favorite. I don't know why he's my favorite. I don't know what it was. It was like he just the way he just because it's like
that's
so
like
much.
my husband. I love him. He's like my husband in another timeline. I'm not even kidding you. I love him because he's so
real.
He's so that's the thing.
He's raw and uncut.
All these people that we listen to are just like us.
Yeah.
They're not trying to sugarcoat shit.
Nope.
They're not trying to, oh, well, I'm so amazing. I'm not amazing. I've just done a lot of work and I'm me and I'm authentically me. And you will never, there is nobody else I would rather be. And that's what a lot of people, they're like,
man.
Oh, I want to be, like this person or these celebrities or da da da. I'm my own celebrity. I don't care if anybody else sees it.
For the world.
No, I'm who I love. I love me.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe other people don't. Like we were having a conversation last night on Clubhouse, right? Mm-hmm. And we were talking about the universal. Okay, it's the cosmic laws of cosmic awareness. Okay. So as we're having this conversation, this woman said, yeah, it's like people are like a moth to a flame. Mm-hmm. And I laughed because I'm like, no. It's like the bug zapper. I'm like a bug zapper. Mm-hmm. I'm the bug zapper in the summer that these mosquitoes find, right? And they fly into and get buzzed and then they like die or run away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because my light irritates the shit out of people.
Right.
Because if you're not ready for to do you're not
Yeah.
ready to do work, if you want to blame other people for your life, I'm not the one. Because I'm going to tell you, no, you're the reason your life is the way it is.
Yeah.
You are creating all of this. Stop blaming everybody else. Go take a look in the mirror. It'll change your life. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that is one thing. When you take accountability for your shit,
Man.
your life's going to change like
Mm-hmm.
instantaneously, because there's nothing more powerful than saying, I know I'm the problem. So I'm like a bug zapper. I'm not like a moth to a flame. I'm like the
Right.
bug zapper in the summer. Because if you're not ready to really do work and really be the best version of you,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to like me. I'm going to irritate the shit out of you.
Yeah, that's the truth.
You
And
know?
I mean, that is the truth. I think the
Is
moth to the flame thing is just like when the one, like, you know, when people are ready. Then they're like,
Yes.
oh, you know, that's the like moth to the flame thing. But the
Mhm.
bug zapper, I like that one. That's the truth.
I'm telling
Like,
you,
it's
that's how I'd be
definitely
feeling.
irritating to people. You know what I'm saying? But if I cared like I used to, then that would be a problem. I really do not care.
I don't anymore. I used to really care. I was a whole Care Bear. Now I'm like, sorry, like I can't help you. Like I
Right.
would love to
And
help you, but you don't want to help yourself. And I think
yeah,
it's
but you know,
I'm telling you, taking accountability, there's nothing like it. There's something so, hey Lindsay, hey Nosley.
hey,
There, there's something so powerful about really just being like, okay, the jig is up. I'm coming out with my hands up like it's
yeah,
me. I'm the problem. And
right.
even with loving yourself, it's the same
Mm-hmm.
thing. Like okay, I hadn't loved myself. It doesn't matter if you loved me. It doesn't matter if my parents even loved me.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if my baby daddies loved me. Doesn't matter. Did I love me?
Yeah.
And
Hey,
the answer was no.
the answer is
Now,
no.
but I changed that, and that's like such a huge thing. Like you guys have to know, like you can change it at any time. You can literally right now say to yourself, like, I'm going to decide to love myself. And that's it. It's really this simple, but we make everything so hard. That's
Yeah,
just what
it's
people do.
simple. It's simple. I just think the missing component has always been the going within,
Mhm.
because the whole seeing stuff from the unseen and all that kind of stuff, and being a creator to create that, like, and know that you created what it has been, and know that you create go in and create something different. Because I think
Right.
that we, I know I thought that I could go outside myself and fix stuff.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
right.
That's not what it is. But you don't really know that until it's happening to you. That's
Yes.
why it's kind of hard to really tell somebody something. That's why I love the way we do stuff. We're just telling, like, we're just saying what we're doing in ourselves. That's the only thing you can talk about is you. You can't really try to tell somebody how to gauge where, you know, what they need to do, because you don't even know what it's going to take. I think, and it's so funny to me because I always talk
Yeah.
about when you're in a relationship with somebody, unless you are vibrating on the same level or whatever, or really close to it or what have you, you really are not going to know what that person is even thinking, feeling, anything, unless you could
Mhm.
feel them and you could kind of tap into them from a vibrational level. Other than that, how do you really even know? Somebody could be like, oh, laughing in your face, talking about they love you, but they really are like, in their own mind, like, I really hate this bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
No, for real though.
Yeah, no.
And action speaks louder than words. So it's kind of like, But then that's another thing that we have not really known is the whole thing about um that we have. I'll get it for you. Um, sorry guys. We haven't known the thing about like energy. Like I think about like how even how I felt when I was a little kid in class and stuff like that. Like if I was like, because I was more of a timid type of child, you know, and I would be afraid to raise my hand and all this type of stuff. Because I was like, now that I know how I am, I was really I could feel really a lot. So I could feel my environment. And if the teacher was like having a certain type of energy toward me, that would make me like protect myself. So I
Right.
would be like silent and like the little timid one in the classroom and all that. And then she would pick other people in the classroom over me instead of it, but it's not really her job. I guess it is kind of, but not the way school is set up to be like,
No.
okay, I wonder what's going on with this student. Let me go and kind of just pull it to so I have a one-on-one with her and see, you know, how she's feeling and what's going on. You see what I'm saying? Like that is not something that we really her job kind of do. You know what I mean? Or we've been taught to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I think now when you start going within yourself, it's like you can really feel people even more because it's like how it's like well, however you're feeling, you could kind of like connect in that type of way from inside as opposed to the other way around. You know what I mean? And I'd rather it be that way, you know, than to try to be trying to do like something outside and sometimes you might go and try to do something and you think you're helping somebody and it's like they don't
Mm.
want it. They do not want it.
No.
You have to be okay with that. You know what I mean? Even your children,
Yes. Oh.
you know?
Oh.
No, really, I my one daughter, I told you, she's the one I have to feel. Like she's not gonna say anything to me about anything. I have to feel her. And once I just go in her room, knock on her door, and she's breaking out, she's crying. And I was like, oh my God, I felt that. You know
Right.
what I mean? But she wouldn't tell me. You see what I'm saying? So it's just, I just rather it be how it is. I'd rather be the inner work, as you know, compared to what I was doing before. I would love it. I love it more that way. How that feels.
I feel like until you really got to get sick of yourself,
Mm,
then you have to decide and really look at just look at yourself. Like
yeah,
that's so hard for people.
it's hard.
It's hard for people. And even now, even with all the work that we have done, it's still hard for me to look at my shit
Yeah,
because this is a constant unfolding. And like this whole journey is never it never ends. It's always something different. Like
yeah. It's
for
new
every
every day.
layer, yeah,
Mm-hmm,
for every layer that I think I've peeled,
mm-hmm,
something else pops up.
right.
And it's like, all right, why is this popping up?
Mm-hmm,
Why is this in your universe? Why are people presenting the way they are?
mm-hmm,
What is it telling me about me and what I
right,
have to work on?
right.
And the more that I look at myself, see, the one thing that the crazy thing is, the more you do work on yourself, the more you can see when other people aren't doing the
This is
work.
what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying, and it's not judgment though.
It's not
It,
judgment. It's
it's
knowing, it's being okay, engaging
yeah,
where these people are at, and then knowing to love yourself enough to go, I'm good, or blocking people, or removing yourself,
mm-hmm,
or anything that you have to do, even the hard things. And I think
yeah,
that's the thing. Like people think this stuff is easy. You have to make decisions every day
every
on
day.
like what you're doing. So just because somebody resonated with me yesterday doesn't mean you're going to resonate with me today.
Yeah, you have to choose
And
every
if you're
day.
making me feel a certain type of way, that's a me problem. So now
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, okay, I can
What is it?
continue. I can continue on this way,
Right,
or I can remove myself.
right.
It's one of two. There's only two things you could do here. You could stay or you go.
Mm-hmm.
You let people stay in your life or you remove yourself. And you
Right.
can't even blame these other people. It's always you. It's
Right.
always you. So like even lately, I've had things come up and I'm like, why is this coming up? What is this trying to teach me? Like I need to love me more. I have
Uh-huh.
to have faith in what is going on and take the accountability for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this showing up again?
Mm-hmm.
Again. But if I'm loving myself, which I owe it to me,
Mm-hmm.
to my God self, to my higher
Yeah.
self. So now I remove myself even when it's hard,
Right.
when it hurts. And that has been like a real humdinger of a lesson
It
for me
is.
lately
It
because
really is. Yeah.
you know, I tend to want to like just be comfortable because like I'm always uncomfortable because we're
Mm-hmm.
always doing something new.
Yeah.
And like just when I think I've healed or just when I think I like know something or like I've figured it out or like balanced,
Right.
it's something else, you
Uh-huh.
know? And it's constantly unfolding.
It
But
is.
like but that's how I know I've grown like even in the love for me
Yeah.
is the amount of tolerance I have for bullshit now is so
Yes.
limited and
Yeah.
it's so like it was all good just a week ago. Like people are in and out of life like that. Like, and especially I've noticed for myself, people who I've had in my life for a while
Mm-hmm.
who weren't necessarily treating me how I should be treated, but I kept hoping people would change,
Yeah. 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 Waiting.
you know? And it's like you can't beat the dead horse over and over, waiting for other people. I got to pick up and keep moving. And then one day, maybe those people will catch up. But it's not for me to wait. It's not for me to wait. Like the love for myself has to supersede any and everything I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
All of it. So if anything ever feels wrong, you owe it to yourself to like remove yourself. You owe it to
And
yourself to do it, like to keep it moving.
yep. And you know what's so funny when I'm hearing you speak about this, it's like you want to see it because you keep on seeing it in that person. But how about if
Oh.
you change? If it's the same magnitude as you having an issue that you need to fix, and that person that you felt like the issue was with, it, they're not in your life no more. But then it comes up in somebody else, right?
Mm.
So think about that the other way around, where you're just like, you know what? I'm not waiting. I'm not hoping for somebody else,
Right.
right? That person's not in my life. But then what I want to see, because I am being what I want to see, is going to show up in somebody else how I want to see
Right.
it.
Yep. Well,
That's a real
that's
thing. That's a real
and
thing.
that's the other thing too. So you sometimes we get so concerned with what we don't want to see
Mm-hmm.
that we
Telling you,
create more of what we don't want to see.
that's it.
So you keep attracting into your life this
Mm-hmm.
shit that like you're like
I
I
was
thought I
doing it,
was done with
girl.
this. And last night on it's the create like when we were talking last night in that clubhouse room
Mm-hmm.
when the one man said when he said about creating more lack. Like we live in
Oh
such an
my God.
abundant world and because of all this abundance we're creating an abundance of lack.
But
And
the
look,
key word is creating, because
and it's
we always think
you.
about creating as just good. You are
Yeah,
creating. Period.
all of
That's
it.
the. You see what I'm saying? That was the key word. I was like, whoa.
And like it's the same thing in like even the love for yourself. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you're thinking about yourself a certain way
Mm-hmm.
and you keep thinking about that, you create more of that.
Mm-hmm.
So now
Mm.
you have to shift and go, okay, who do I want to be? My thing was, for me last year, the sutra did this to me. The sutra said, it had me literally sitting one day and I was like, do you want to be dependent or dependable? And I was like, oh my God, like, I never thought about that before. Like, I want to be somebody people can go to, that if they need something, like my family, my friends, like, was I being who I wanted to see in my life?
Mm-hmm.
Like, was I being, like, I was looking for all these great people, right?
Right.
But was I being the great person? And that was like, wow. Like, if I want to see love, I have to be love. If I want to see healing, I have to be healing. If I want to see abundance, I have to be abundant. I have to do these things. And people don't want to start inside. They're like, oh, well, if I go buy this thing, it's going to make me be XYZ. If I go do this thing, that's going to do it for me. No, it's you.
It's you. But let me tell you something. And that's why I love these conversations. I love the clubhouse conversations. I love everybody's perspective because I feel like I was opposite. Like too independent, too I got this.
Right.
I need to be dependent on source. Even when it's like that is the most hardest thing. And that's what I had to learn when it was like, you are going to go ahead and be homeless. Because that was my fear.
Right.
So hard to be, you see what I'm saying? To end up being like experiencing what, I did with growing up with my mom and stuff like that, and the fact that she was so dependent, I was not trying to be dependent. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So
you went the opposite.
Right. So me now learning about the source of my supply, about this book, it's a real hard hitter for me.
Yeah.
It's a straight up humbling experience. Like for real. It's like daily because I recognize that I had to go through that in order to receive. And we talked about this. When I found out that reciprocity was a spiritual law and I was breaking it at so many levels, not expecting, I was cool with being depleted. Oh, I'm gonna get me a medal or a plaque but I'm gonna be crawling up trying to get it because I'm just so just dried up.
Right. Like, I don't need help. I'm good.
Yeah.
No, I got this.
Yep.
It's so deep.
But I got this. And then it's like, okay, now I know that the source of my supply is the most high and the abundance is already there for me. The Diamond Sutra, I'm a diamond. I had to be cut from that to even know I was a diamond. I had to be cut from all the gook that was around me, making me feel like I was doing something and I wasn't even doing nothing. Like for me. You know what I'm saying? Like that it still is. Like being dependent, like you are a baby receiving breast milk. You know what I'm saying?
Literally.
There's some babies who don't even want, they like, I'm good. They already come in the world. You know what I'm saying? Independent. That's me. Like I'm my mom said I was just like already like boom, and I always been like that. But then it comes a time where like, dang, no, you've done all that. Now it's time for you to receive. Do you even know how to do that? No. That's something you got to learn as well.
That's a huge piece. That's a huge piece of self-love is receiving and being okay with people asking for help. That most people will not ask for help.
Nope.
Will not. And you're doing yourself such a disservice because you don't have to. I want to say Captain Save-A-Ho because that's like been the thing lately. But you really don't have to be like you don't. You're not the martyr.
No.
You don't have. You can ask for help. Like now, I'll ask because
Yeah.
I don't want to struggle. Like I don't want to be doing all that. Like you're not meant to struggle here.
No.
Abundance is your literal birthright. Everything is here for you. You were literally born perfect. We carry all this baggage from other people. We
That's
don't
what I was
even
gonna say.
know. We don't even know because we're so used to doing for other people, doing, instead of being like, wait, what about me and how I feel?
Yeah,
Like
who are you in the multiverse? Who are you expanded? Are you still doing
ugh.
that same stuff? Because when you read off last night all those numbers of poverty, like different renditions of what poverty is, I was like, can she please stop? And it was 10 of them. You went from 1 to 10. I said, oh my God.
I thought it was just gonna be like 2 or 3.
Oh my God.
And as I
That
kept reading, I was like, oh.
girl,
See, we should do
that's
an
the thing.
episode about those
That's the
next
thing.
because
For real.
those cosmic laws,
That alone
there's
right there, the
yeah,
poverty?
I know. I know. It's deep. But
Wow.
I don't even have like words for that because
Because how do you have self love, right? How do you have self love when it's just so many lines of poverty? Man,
but
okay,
it's and the crazy thing though is it all goes back, all everything. Every piece of everything goes back to loving yourself and then having a connection to the source of your supply. Because I'm telling you, until I really loved myself and like learned that I had a higher self and all that other stuff, like, but even to just reading this book, like I've heard, even from Florence Scovel, she has in her book, like, source is my supply, da da
mm-hmm,
da da. My supply. There's a golden thread of abundance and
mm-hmm,
prosperity and all this stuff. But it never clicked for me
mm-hmm.
until we read this abundance book. And when I think about it now, and I'm going to say it again because it's that quote, my consciousness of God
Mm-hmm.
as my supply is my supply. And I was like, what?
My conscience as my supply is my supply.
And I'm like, and that I literally hear it every day because it's
Wow.
that simple. And I feel like had I not connected to myself, like in my heart space, in that love, because it's so deep to me because
Mm.
if you don't love yourself, how are you connecting to source?
This is what I'm trying to say. Think about those
Yeah,
levels of poverty. Tim, okay, because when you read those things, I'm like, okay, so somebody already knows this, and somebody is inflicting this on
on
purpose.
people. Mm-hmm.
So this is
Yep.
why it's so important for us to even tell who we are, what's going on, how we even are transitioning. Because a lot of stuff that's being said is like, no, that's it couldn't be for me because when you check off all these lines of poverty, I'm pretty much like 8 out of 10. What? You feel me? Like, how is that even possible that you know what I'm saying, could even start to activate
Yep.
something inside of myself in order for me to start receiving the abundance that is already mine? I'm sorry, but that don't make sense to a lot of people.
No, I know. I
It
know.
just doesn't.
Well, because you don't even know that's people are thinking people think everything's outside of them.
Right.
So you're like, oh, money comes from the bank. Oh, my car comes from money from the bank. From here, this person gave me money.
Yeah.
And I know we had this conversation the other day too. Like, this book hit so deep for me because I was thinking about how the whole time since I
Mhm.
was younger to now, I always thought I never had like a great money connection. And I definitely was not looking at money as like something good. I wasn't
Girl, I
I
know.
I wasn't
Me
looking
too.
at something good. I thought of
Right.
it as something bad, right?
Yes.
And I would hear my family say money's the root of all evil,
That
and
whole thing, yeah.
what do you think money goes on trees
And
and
all that.
all this extraness, you know? Never abundance is your birthright.
Mm.
You're meant to,
Mm.
you're literally source on earth. Why would you be living in
Mm.
shambles? Why would you be living in poverty? You are the most abundant. You are a fucking walking miracle.
But the
And
polarity
we're,
though, the
yeah,
polarity
and
of it all, the rich and the poor. That's not what's
yeah,
that?
like that's not supposed, everybody's supposed to get it.
Mm.
Everybody's abundant. But
Right.
unless you have that inner standing,
Mm-hmm.
but then to even have the inner standing, but then to take it to the level of that, it's never been dollars. It's never been people. It has been God and source, literally
Literally.
your supply. And then having the awareness that it's your higher self as source being your supply. What?
Yeah, because
My whole
remember,
mind is like
yeah.
boggled.
But then it makes you think of like what you said that day, where you look back over the thing, and it be times when people brought us groceries or brought us that. Those were
It was
all
never the
signs.
people. It was always
Yeah,
source.
it was
It was
always
never
source.
these people. I told you the story about when Elise was little, she had asthma, and
Mm-hmm.
I did not have the money for the machine. And some dude went and bought the machine, and I was like, wait, now looking back, like that wasn't even that dude.
No.
That was source
Yes.
working
Showing
through,
you. Yeah.
supplying
The
me
little,
all
kind
of,
of like breadcrumbs,
uh,
what you said. You know.
it's
But now us look at us now. Like, okay, hey, I'm gonna get this in motion to
yeah,
where that's how you think. That's why the whole 40-day thing is what needs to be,
so
because you have to
important.
renew your mind.
Yep.
You got to renew your thought process.
Like
It's deep.
now,
It's so deep.
knowing this, and like if you're listening and you're like, I don't get it, it's okay. But really, it's that you're not supposed to be looking at money as money or any of that. Like, money's not your supply. It all comes from source.
What did it
But
say
like,
today? It- It's
oh,
like,
let me
oh
read it.
yeah. Do you have the book handy? I'm sorry
Hold on. I
because
have them. I have them all written down, like in my little. I saved them in my phone. So today's was this: money is not my supply. No person, place, or condition is my supply. My awareness, understanding, and knowledge of the all providing activity in divine mind within me is
mm,
my supply. My consciousness of this truth is unlimited. Therefore, my supply is unlimited.
wow.
And I'm sorry, like, listen,
Mm,
this is like tapping into your unlimited supply because you're surrendering your actual human self. Like,
yeah.
you're not looking at the physicality of money, you're
Mm-hmm.
looking at the spiritual aspect that you are always provided for,
Mm-hmm.
just like you're divinely guided and divinely protected. Like, these are things that we don't even really get because it's like people talk about it, but unless you know that in your heart,
Yes.
you don't really know. But it's the truth of like, it's the truth of everything,
Mm-hmm.
to really sit and kind of sit with that. Like,
Yeah.
these are like universal truths we're
You
speaking.
really
This
got to
isn't
sit with it.
like,
Yeah.
and like once you grasp it,
Mm-hmm.
like I can never look at money coming from people as like somebody did something for
Mm-hmm.
me ever again, because I know it's not even the people.
Because they said that that's the effect, right?
Yes, the cause
That's the effect.
is source, and then the effect is like the money,
Yeah. Like,
how it shows up. Yep.
wow. And so we usually honor and put on the pedestal the effect.
Yep.
That's out of order.
Yep.
I mean, if you were thinking about it, not to be judgmental, but I'm talking about even to myself, like that's out of order because you're literally putting everything before God.
Ex-
And you know, that's so funny to me. I was just talking to my friend today about that because he's Muslim and everything, and he was like talking about because I was talking about my artwork and all that, and he was talking about like they don't they don't feel like you should do stuff with like people's eyes. But then I looked it up, you know, like painting eyes or having people like they like
mm.
to have like artwork that doesn't have a face on it. But my
Oh,
thing is, I had to look into what was being said, and it was like it's not about you doing any of that. It's more of you utilizing something to worship it. You see what I'm saying?
right.
Like if you did
Mm.
something, you made anything and you worship it. And I was thinking about how just what you just got through reading right now. If we do not look at source as what is causing everything to happen, and we look at the effect, like worshiping the
Right.
creator. I mean, you know, the creation instead of the creator, right? Then you are worshiping idols.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
You're making false idols.
And what did you say today too about, it was something like, if you don't realize the one is in you, you're like looking at multiple, you make multiple gods.
Yeah,
Like
that's
it
what they
was,
said. They said that when you don't like the fact that we have not known that we were in alignment with the Most High God as the one being one with God, then when you step outside of yourself and looking outside of yourself for anything, you create more and more gods.
multiple. And that when you said that, I was like, sheesh.
Mhm. But that's what this is saying right here. It's saying the same thing
Yep.
because you're looking at the things, the effect as your source, and that's not the source.
No.
That's always that's options to cut off and be done, and that's death because that can be cut off, cut away,
Yep.
right? But then the source of your supply is something that never ever ends,
And it's infinite.
and it's infinite.
Infinite, endless.
And I'm not saying this because I know I'm saying it because I'm feeling it in this moment, and I
Yep.
have been the person to look at the effect more than the
Right.
cause, and I've been out of order myself.
But now,
Yeah.
honestly, now that the way that this is unfolding and like the whole thing, like I'll never look at people the same. Like,
Yeah.
because now I'm like, and it makes it almost easier. Like, even with receiving things, right?
Yeah.
Think about like, I used to be like, oh no, I'm good.
Hmm.
Now I'm just like, thank you, because I know it's not the person.
Right.
And it takes like the pressure off of receiving.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, like I kind of like this because it's not personal.
Yes.
It's the source thing. It's the one. So it's
Hmm.
like now it makes it easier for me to even translate that in my head, because I used to look at people giving me things as that I was less than.
Hmm. Yep.
Like, oh, like, do they feel bad for me?
Hmm. Hmm.
Oh, you're trying to get something.
Yeah.
And it's not even that. It was never that.
Hmm.
And I think about, well, even the times, like I told you, like I had, like my dad, instead of like hanging out with me, he would like give me money, right?
Yeah.
And now when I think back about that, even that wasn't even him. So it wasn't even him.
Wow.
It wasn't even him doing it.
Wow.
So it's like I was looking at him a certain type of way, like he was just trying to pacify me and shut me up, and it wasn't even that.
Wow.
So I could like unwrite that. I took that narrative out and like threw that in the garbage. And I was like, oh, well, that was a little freeing. Like, thank you.
And that's the healing, right? What you just said right there.
Yeah.
You go through and you see how everything was running together the whole time. Everything was running together the whole time.
Crazy.
It's just crazy. About you changing your perspective about it.
Exactly.
But that's the thing. See, you broke that down and you use an example. People are saying things like, oh, it's just they're just saying it and they're not explaining.
Right. They're not.
That's why this is important.
You have to bring your personal experience into it. That is the whole point.
Yeah.
I didn't go through all this shit for nothing. Like, I'm not going to sit on I'm turning my mess into a message. Like, the pain into the purpose. Like, who am I to hold that? When I know that, like, it could be some random person in another country listens to our podcast tonight, and they're like, wait, so now I can like let that go and like a shackle falls off of your heart. That's why, like, as much as like, listen, all these moments we talk about, like a felony and like addiction and like all this shit that I've had personally happen is embarrassing as shit, right? But like, why would I keep that for me? Like, if I know that can help other people.
Right, because when you heal it, then it's a story you're telling to help somebody else.
Right. And that's what...
That's the beauty.
That's why this whole thing, like even all of this, all the things that we're doing right now, I have so much gratitude to even be able to help people, period. But I always thought I would have to do some grand hoopla to like help people because I thought my voice was like tiny and didn't matter. But it's literally sharing your story.
You know what just came to me just now?
What?
This the whole God helps those who help themselves.
Yep. And it's true. It's true.
If you're really helping yourself, you're helping yourself. Wow. Yep. Helping somebody else. You see what I'm saying? See how that works?
Even us sharing all this stuff, like when we get off here, like our hearts just feel different. Like my heart feels different because I know when I put this out, like, these aren't my most, great times. Like, oh yeah, my felony, like da.
Yeah.
But I know that like somebody else is like, wait, that girl has a felony and she's like sitting here laughing and like joking about this shit.
Yeah.
Because it's really not that serious. It's serious, right? But it doesn't have to define you. None of this stuff has to define you. And like when you love yourself, I love how when you say like you like 8 Mile people, I'm going to tell you all my dirt.
I'm telling you
because you're not going to ever come to me and go, oh, that Melissa, I heard that she's got a felony and no, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you all about it. And tell you the whole story. Because you're not going to have anything to hold over my head. And that's something like when I learned to really love myself, I did not give a shit how anyone else felt about it.
Right.
This doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anybody outside of you, not that people don't matter. Don't take it, I know it sounds a little harsh.
Right.
It's you though. It's your happiness. It's your peace. It's your healing. Like that's what matters. Right. And when you can do that and like really just kind of put everything out on the table, you take your power back. And that love for yourself will supersede everything else you're doing.
It will.
And anybody else that comes into the mix, like, they're either going to be okay with that and they're going to love you for who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't, they're not your people.
Yeah.
And some people try to use it against you or make you feel less than, but you can't let other people make you feel any type of way. It's all how
Yeah.
you are perceiving, how you are feeling. And if you feel less than, it's because something in you. It's not what the other people are doing.
Yes. Yes.
It's you.
Uh-huh. And so when it's so heavy,
Yep.
you gotta find out where the heaviness is coming from.
And
And that's coming from you.
the whole
And
time.
it's also allowing people to treat you a certain way too, when you know that that's not, you fought so hard to get somewhere else, you know. and you have to look and see why is that even occurring?
Exactly.
Because you might be giving attention to it that you shouldn't really be giving attention to.
That part.
You know what I mean? And so then it starts becoming, it makes you feel other than what you, because after you already experience peace, when you experience peace, I'm telling you right now, when you really experience peace, you do
There's
not
nothing like it.
You do not accept interruptions. Sorry.
Nope.
And they do come, yes. At the same time, you recognize them quickly because you've experienced peace. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you
And
in chaos in your own mind, all that, it's just, you know, picking up stuff that you didn't even need to be picking up. But once you experience peace, you're like, oh no.
Yeah, like, we're not doing this.
And if we cannot find a common ground solution to it, just like those laws we just read through reading last night, you can just go ahead and bow out gracefully to keep your peace. It's fine. It's fine. You know? Because people are just where they are, and that's just it.
And it's hard when like things pop up, but they don't have to, like you say, they're time sensitive. They don't have to be a thing. You don't have to give it life.
Mm-hmm.
You don't got to do all that. You just don't. It's always a choice. And that's the other thing too. Like, you're always choosing. Even loving yourself. It's a choice.
It's a choice.
It's a choice. Everything is a choice. When you're not changing, you're choosing.
It's so true.
So if you're gonna sit and you're complaining that nobody, you know what it was for me too.
Mm-hmm.
My thing was, nobody loves me,
and that was that to me. I was, and that was such a complete lie. It was such a lie to myself. I was saying that too. Like,
I think about that now, and that shit makes me sick. I used to be like, nobody loves me.
You're literally creating that.
Poor me.
Yeah.
What?
That's just.
What? Like, that is untrue.
It was so.
And that's the other thing too. Like, if you ever want to like smash and demolish some shit in your head, say it out loud. And hear how dumb that shit sounds. Like, I was sitting there telling this narrative in my head of, nobody loves me. That's not true. I wasn't loving me. It's nobody else here. Party of one. It was me. And like, when I sat with that, I was like disgusted with myself.
So horrible.
I'm
like cringing right now. Like, oh
yeah, because like, you know how many other people are out there saying that shit?
It's not cool.
No, the way we talk to ourselves is so important. And like, you don't even really know. Because like, when you're in a bad place, you're not thinking like that.
No.
But like now, I would never. And it takes me back to that affirmation. And it's, I love everyone and everyone loves me. And then there's another one that's, I am everyone's favorite person. And when I heard that the first time, I was like, wow, what? Like, I love everyone and everyone loves me? Ooh, like, that's deep.
Because there's no such thing as everyone. We're making up everyone.
Exactly. But here I'm sitting there saying, nobody loves me. Now I'm like, no, everybody loves me. Because I love everybody. I love you until, like I love you where you're at, even if,
That's the thing. You have to. Because
like,
it should be no hard feelings. There should not be no none of that. It shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be that at the end of the day.
no.
You
And
know.
you're really, if you, so here goes my brain, right? If you're looking at everybody, if you know that you are who you are, your
Mm-hmm.
source, right? Your God. If I'm mad at you and I hate you, I really hate me
Mm-hmm.
and God. And
Mm-hmm.
and when my brain pieces it like that, like then it turns to I hope that person heals.
Mm-hmm.
And every day I have a little list of people that I send love and healing to
Mm-hmm.
because you're still me. If we
Mm-hmm.
all come from the same source, we all come from one creator.
Yes.
Because people think like there's like multiple creators. Like, no, everybody got here the same way. So if you are not loving other people, black, white, pink, purple, green, orange, yellow, unicorns, fairies, whatever, you're missing the boat. Like everybody is one. So like I can't hate you because I would hate me. And I would hate the source that created me. And I can't do that anymore. I used to
Well,
do that.
when you know, because remember I was telling you about the thing I saw when it said like the big, it's like all cap, all ALL was
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
what I said. It said that it was the unity of the one, right?
Right.
And then the opposite way is the lowercase all, where you look at it the all as units.
Right. Yeah.
So we perceive ourselves as units. That means that you're unto yourself. But when you mount up into the all, into the unity, you bring those units all together as one, and it builds up
Right.
to the
Right.
one. Then you don't have room for separatism, and you know what I'm saying. So you look at it different. Like you said, you can actually see how we're one in that, even if you are not even like I guess dealing with the certain person or whatever, or a relationship you were in or whatever, you still can have love for them and
Right.
peace for that person because you still know. And it might take a little bit more or something like that for them to get that revelation, you know what I mean, that you've come to,
Right.
but that's okay. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah, it's
fine.
not even your
But as
problem.
long as you have it, because see, if you keep on thinking it's okay and justified to be all hateful and all that type of stuff, then you're going to create more of it,
Right.
and you don't want that feeling no more after you've already, like I said, experienced the peace of you don't want that no more. So you don't want to
Mm-mm.
feel that no more. So you don't
No.
create it now that you know that
No.
you have
Once you
created
know,
it. Yeah, it's deep.
like, yeah,
It's deep.
no. Once you know what peace is like,
Yeah,
anything else is like uncivilized.
it
It's
doesn't.
like, no, I'm good. Like I'm not doing that
Mhm.
anymore. Not once you,
And you have
not
to catch
once you
yourself
can.
too, because I'm not saying like it doesn't come like, oh, but you have to catch you just catch
Yeah,
yourself faster. You just
you catch
catch
yourself,
yourself.
and it's not that same.
Residue or whatever.
It's not that same like hardness.
Yeah,
Like I know when people used to pull shit on me years ago,
yeah.
I would be like 0 to 100, right? But now that I have like the clarity in my mind of
Hmm.
like what is going on, and that I know what people do has nothing to do with me.
Hmm.
Even if I want to make the story up in my head, I
Hmm.
know it's a story.
Yeah, it's a
I
story.
know I'm just like making it up
Hmm.
because it really like I can never perceive for someone else. So like
Right.
what they're going through
Yeah,
doesn't
because you never
have
know.
anything to do with me.
Yeah, because you never know. You might have been a trigger for that person.
Right. To heal.
That
Yep.
it was something, but it could have been something from their childhood that you came along and triggered them.
Yep. And brought
So
up.
you don't even know where that's even really coming from. But that's
Mm-mm.
coming from them, and that's for them to figure out, not you. It's not
Not me.
necessarily
Yep.
you like that.
And
You
it's
know,
not even
sometimes.
it's not and this is like for everybody. Like, this isn't just us talking about, like,
This is for
if you
everybody.
ever
Yeah,
had anybody in your life that like gives you a hard time, or and you think it's you, it's not you. It is that it's everybody's going through their own experience here.
yeah,
And when you start realizing, like, okay, so Joe Schmo from Idaho acts like this because of Joe Schmo from Idaho. It has nothing to do with you. Your life, like, woo, it like frees up and opens up because
it does.
it always goes back to the person.
Hmm.
And that's it. And I think that is such a big lesson because it changes everything. You don't have to make other people the reason. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're
You
not
don't.
looking at
You don't. You don't. And then I'm thinking about when we were talking about in the room prior talking about the number line, and this is making me think more about the number line because people think like you can over smother somebody with love too,
yeah.
or you know what I'm saying, like
Yep.
somebody, especially somebody who doesn't even come from that, like they don't even know nothing about that, or their mom did them a certain way or whatever, and they have so much resentment inside of them, and you're trying to come with love, you can overdo it
Right.
to where you just become a doormat, and they don't ever know how to receive what you're giving them.
Right.
You see what
And
I'm
that
saying?
goes back to the self love. If you're not loving yourself,
Yeah.
you can't receive it, you can't give it properly.
See, and even if
That's
you
it.
are, oh, I love them, and they treated me like this. Well, that's because they can't receive it. It's not
Right.
because they don't. It's not because they're just being some type of way. It's something going on that you
With
like
them.
what you don't even know about. That is
Exactly.
their heart is hardened, and they can't. It's not even nothing for them to really. You know what I'm saying? It's not penetrating. It's not getting through.
Mm-mm.
So that's where balance and stuff like that comes in at. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And you not overly, you know, doing something, or even the other way around, like you being mad, being so mad at that person because they just wronged you and they just did this to you, and you're always the victim of something.
Right.
But you're not neutral. You're not coming in the middle of it and saying, okay, well, the same, like that's something might be going on with them.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
okay, let me just remove myself, you know, and then maybe we can take this at a later date. Maybe give that person time because they only God knows how to get to that person. Only that their higher self knows how to really align them and get them where they're just sick of their own thing,
Right.
or even to see if that's even what the problem actually is in them. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So for you to be so mad and so have so much hatred toward that, how do you know like down the line it's not going to be a peace made? You don't
Exactly.
know.
Yeah. You never
But if
know.
you like oh no, I'll never, then it's like okay, the opportunity is not even available. But you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. You don't even know how that probably happened for a reason to like we talked about last night about the laws. That might have happened just so you could get yourself to a certain
Right.
place of
To it.
alignment.
Yep.
Because how are you really in alignment if you're even dealing with the polarity of it and you're not taking the middle path?
Right.
You
Yep.
see what I'm saying? It's
And
just, and so therefore that's where the peace comes in at, because in the not what is in Diamond Switcher said, the attachments. People think,
right.
oh, I'm not attached. We always be like, oh, I'm just attached. I'm not even being around that person. I'm not dealing with that person. It's not that. It's the energy that they're operating with right now is not in alignment with what you're dealing with, and that's
Right.
okay, right?
Yes. Yep.
But the attachment to it is causing you to make it a thing, and it's
Exactly.
causing you to get yourself off a track, right?
Instead of looking at the reflection. See, that's the other part. Why is that a thing for me? And then like doing the deep dive on yourself.
Right.
With Nosley, right? You can't hold the person responsible for the perception you choose to have in the situation. And that's exactly it. Like,
That's it. That doesn't mean you have to
I
stay
can't,
around them. Doesn't mean you have to
yeah,
keep on playing the fake game and so and so. Because
no,
really, how you feel about something is going to come out in your energy anyway. You cannot hide it.
right. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
And sometimes you have to just bow out gracefully with love and light and be like, okay, well then, you like I said, maybe that will be visited another time because we don't know in our humanness how to work things out a certain way, but
Right.
our higher self does.
Yep.
That's a whole give it to God thing.
Yeah.
That's what you say too. Give it to no, for real, give it to God.
Yep.
Like for real.
Yep. And sit and listen
Yeah.
and see what you're supposed to do. Like, and then walk that out. That's really like the formula. That's like the formula for life now is
Formula.
you sit, you think about it, you hear it, you work it out, you walk it out, and that's it. And then it comes to fruition. And honestly, I used to not trust what I thought,
Mm.
and now I can't help but trust
Mm-hmm.
and know. And especially when I sit and listen and what I get, I'm like, all right, this is the right thing to do. Like, I don't second guess my moves anymore,
Right.
ever. Like,
Right.
I don't have to be like, oh, I don't know if that was the right thing. Oh, no, that was absolutely the correct thing.
But
And
let me
I,
ask so and so what they think.
nope,
That's another thing.
I'm
Maybe
going to
somebody
ask
came in
anybody
your
anything.
yeah. Maybe somebody came in your life that was kind of tough or whatever to get you to
To
stop being a
toughen you
doormat.
up.
Like
Yep.
stop being a doormat. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like
Exactly.
stop just letting anybody just walk over you and stop outsourcing to where you gotta always gotta get somebody else's like second opinion about what your God self already said.
Yep. That part.
You know?
That part. I'm telling you,
So,
but that comes again. This is all goes back to loving yourself.
yeah, that's
You
it.
love yourself. You don't need to ask anybody else because you know you're. It's like tag, you're it,
Yeah,
and that's it.
that's it.
And you don't have to worry about asking other people. You're not looking for validation. You're not hoping somebody's like, oh, yes, this is what we're doing. No, I know what I'm doing. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, thanks for playing, but I
Thanks.
got this. Like, but that comes with it comes with time. It's not something that happens overnight. Just like
No.
even loving yourself. This stuff isn't a one, two, three and done. This is like an everyday thing
Yeah.
that you have to work at in order to get where you're going. Like, but
Mm-hmm.
that goes along with the territory. If you really know your value and you know that you have to like sit with yourself and really say, all right, well, am I loving myself? Are the
Mm-hmm.
things that I'm doing, am I being accountable for me? Am I owning? Sorry, I have people walking in my house right now.
That's okay.
Are you like owning up to the love inside of you? Like, are you loving everybody else but not loving yourself? Like, you're showing people how to treat you. That's the other part. Like, you're showing people how to treat you.
Yeah.
So if you're not loving you, you're the example.
Mm-hmm.
So people aren't going to love you how you deserve to be loved because
Mm-hmm.
you're not even doing it.
That man.
So it's like, okay, like you could say
Self-love is
whatever
number
you
one.
want. You could say whatever you want, but if you're not showing people how to do it,
Yeah.
you're the example. Just like anything else we talk about, showing up in the version of yourself you want to see. If
Mm-hmm.
you're not doing it, you can't expect other people to know how to do it.
Right.
You got to walk it like you talk it. And it goes
Yep.
for everything,
Yep.
literally everything. So let's say we're
Yes,
going on
ma'am.
almost 2 hours. Oh my goodness. So I'm thinking to myself now, like maybe for next week, we could talk about like the cosmic awareness and the
Which is
laws.
it? Hmm.
Like what we went over in the room,
Oh,
the
that.
cosmic laws of the universe. I think that would be cool to do next week. So we want to thank
Yeah.
everybody for coming and rocking with us for almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
And we hope you guys love this. And I think Tangenique and I had talked about basically doing like a question and answer kind of thing. And I think even when I come out there, maybe we
Just
could
like
do it
open
that.
talk, open talk or whatever. Like
So like
kind of
if
based on what we're talking
anybody,
about.
yeah, if you have questions, if there's something you want to know, like something on your mind, put it in the chat. You could email us. We're both on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
We have the YouTube channel. There's all different ways to get in touch with us.
Come
I can
on,
put the link.
Clubhouse.
Yeah, we're on Clubhouse. We're actually probably going to do a room to even have people come in and, like, give us questions that you want to know. And we're going to sit and discuss it. So in between now and the 1st, please feel free to get in touch with us for that.
Yeah.
And like I said, on the 1st, we're going to be doing the show live together, which is so exciting. I cannot wait. Oh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I'm so excited to come out there.
Yes.
So that's that. And yes, we will be on Clubhouse. We'll even be on Clubhouse tomorrow night at 9:30.
Yeah.
We're going to be discussing the cosmic laws and doing a room. So you could always find us. And we love you guys. And thank you for joining us. And thank you for letting us into your lives, really.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
You guys could literally be anywhere else, but you're here with us. So that's what people, though, because the only times right now, it's so true. Like, you could be anywhere else, but you're like hanging out with us. So we love you for that.
Yeah.
So I love you guys. Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night.
We'll see you next Thursday. Bye.
Bye.